Hello everyone, welcome back to another video of Metronic. In this video, we'll be discussing on Metronic's Webpack customization, or rather how you can customize Webpack using Metronic's version 7 and above. So again, before we get started, please make sure that you have purchased and downloaded Metronic. And once you've unzipped or unpacked unloaded the package, it should look something like this. And so for our Webpack installation, or rather our Webpack customization, the configuration files are all within the theme and HTML. For Webpack customization in this video, we'll be mainly discussing on the default HTML version and not the other versions like Angular, Laravel and whatnot. We'll be just talking about the HTML version because that's the main default version of Metronic. So if you go into the tools folder, you will see a few files. So let's just open this folder up in our IDE. So right here, we have our tools and a Webpack open. So if we open our Webpack config, which is this file, there's a few things here that we need to take note of. The first thing we need to take note of is actually these two lines here. These two lines is just defining whenever you run a Webpack run build command in your command prompt, what this does is it creates or compiles the source folder of the demo and deploys it into the destination path, which is the assets.this path. So what do we mean by the source folder? So if you look into any demo within Metronic, let's say demo 1, we have dist and source. So in this, we have all HTML files here. That's all fine. You can use that however you want. And then the assets folder is pre-generated. Well, not pre-generated, it's auto-generated whenever you run your build command. We will do a quick demo on how we can do that later in this video. But what we mean by deploy is, in every demo, we have also a source folder. So if you look into, like, say, demo 2, there's a source. We go to demo 6, there's a source. So every demo has a source folder. And in this source folder, we have our JS, media, plugins, and Sass. So what Webpack does when you run the build command is it will take all the code here. It will compile it as in the sense that Sass will be converted to CSS, and also minify it if you turn on the configuration to minify, and deploy all those things into your assets. So let's go ahead and run a quick demonstration on this. So for this instance, let's delete the assets folder for now. Okay, it's gone. We go to our tools, and then we open up our command prompt. And in here, we run our build command, which is npm run build. And then you have a -- with the demo name that you want to build. So in this example, we'll be working on demo 1. So let's go ahead and just build demo 1. Let's put this aside and watch our demo 1 get our assets built. Okay, it's done. You can see the assets appeared and all of our CSS, JS, media, and plugins gets generated using the build tool. Now, this build tool is powerful and flexible in the sense that you can customize this to do certain things or deploy the assets folder to your projects folder. Now, before we get to that, let's sidestep a little bit to have a look at what exactly gets deployed. So if you look into our CSS, we have all the CSS all bundled up. So if you look into this, you can see all of our CSS already generated. If you go into our JS, you see our scripts.js all nicely bundled up. Okay, so that's our generated file. So let's look into our source. If you look into our Sass, what it's doing is basically reading the styles.sass and then bundling all this up together into a single file. As for JS, it will grab basically all of our JS and do the necessary things according to how we configure it with Webpack. So now, looking at Webpack, we have a few things we need to take note of. First is, this is our demo path. So our demo path is mainly just to say that where the demo is. So at the moment, it's at the root path, which is just where this tools folder is sitting, and then a slash, and then a demo. A demo is basically just like a demo name. It can be a demo 1, 2, 3, 4, or whichever. It's using a get demos, which is a Metronic function, but we can just keep it as it is. We don't need to change any of this. The dist path is basically where you want to compile and deploy your dist files to. You can change this to any file path you want, and this also you can change it to any assets path that you want. For source path, it's just basically saying that where the source is sitting, and what I mean by source is this folder, where this folder is sitting. So it's basically demo path / source. Demo path is the current demo that we're using. So it could be demo 1 or demo 2, whatever, or demo something, and then source. So basically that's how it works. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, you can minify all this stuff, all these files if you want. So to minify them, all you have to do is run the same command, but we put a --prod first, just to say that this is going to be a production type build, and then we select our demo. So we have a quick run with that. All right, it's done. So let's have a look into our assets folder. If you look into our CSS, our bundle is now all minified. And if you look into our JS, our bundle is also minified. So that's how you can minify your build. And if you need an RTL version, all you need to do is just run npm run build, and you add the RTL flag, which is RTL equals true, and then the demo name, like so. You have a quick run of it, and then it will generate an RTL version of your build. Now, what an RTL means is basically just a right to left way of reading things. So if you have a look into our, say one of our demos like this, okay, and so what you're seeing now is all left to right. So our right to left, or RTL version will be, all this will be read from right to left, much like for different languages like Arabic and whatnot. Okay, so that's right to left. Let's go back to this. So essentially, this is all you need to worry about when it comes to Webpack, when it comes to commands on how to build things with Webpack. But there is also certain customizations that you can add into it. So if you have a look into your Webpack folder, we have multiple scripts.demo JS files. Now, each demo will have its own list of scripts to include. So if you look into demo 1, we have like all this to be included. We have our main Metronic plugins that we use for almost all of our pages. Same goes with layout specific JS files, scripts that we use, and layout extended JS files. So if we keep this open and open, say like demo 5, you can see that certain things are a little bit different. As you can see, like the layout is, maybe we have less scripts to load for layout, simply because perhaps that our demo, like our demo 1, we have like a top bar, and then we have a sub header, and then we have a side. And for demo 5, we don't have an aside. We only have like a hamburger menu and just one top bar. So as you can see, things are different. So in that sense, the scripts that we include will be different. And by knowing that, if you're customizing certain things in your project and you do not need certain, say you do not need certain things, like you do not need a data table checkbox, like maybe you're just not using data tables at all, then you do not need to include any of this. You can just go ahead and just delete that, and then build your project or build your assets. Same goes, like you don't need quick notifications, or if you don't need quick search, and so on and so forth. You just go ahead and delete that. All right, so that's the main initialization or the main script list that Webpack will be including. The next comes is our plugins. So if you open up the plugins folder, we all have a custom folder inside it with all of our custom plugins that's included with Metronic. And we have a plugins script file. So in this file, we have two main things. We have the mandatory plugins, like we commented right here. It's pretty clear that all these things, all these plugins are mandatory. The moment you remove any one of it, Metronic will most likely stop working. So we highly recommend for anybody to not remove any of this unless you guys know what you're getting into. The next thing we need to look at is our optional plugins that you can add and remove things. So for example, if you do not have sticky, you can just go ahead and just remove that. If you don't need Apex charts, again, just do that and run your build, and that's it. That's pretty much how you can actually delete files or delete plugins from Metronic, because since Metronic is a very large demo, your project not necessarily needs all of these plugins. Maybe you do not need a time picker because you already have a date picker, and so on. So this is how you can remove plugins that your projects do not require. Now, if you want to add your own plugins, it's also fairly simple. First, you need to decide whether it's a global plugin or a single plugin. What do we mean by a global plugin? So if we have a look at, whoops, not this one, yep. If we have a look at our demo, like the dashboard page, if we view our source, so if you scroll down to the bottom, we can see we are importing the plugins bundle, and we're importing a full calendar bundle, and also widgets. Okay, let's have another example. Let's look at, say, data tables. Maybe you can look at just a basic table. All right, let's look at the source. Scroll all the way down. As you can see, we have our plugins bundle file, and we have this extra file or extra bundle that we have, and we have another basic JS file that we use to initialize the data table. Now, how do we get this file? It's actually fairly simple. So if you go back into our Webpack config, you scroll down, we have this function called import data tables, and what this does is it just groups up all the files that's needed for the data table, and then basically just push it into a certain path. So in order for you to create your own custom build, you can just duplicate this function, rename the name to, say, import, say, your plugin name. So we have JS that gets bundled up into the output path is basically plugins custom data table. So if we have a look at our assets, JS, is it pages? No, sorry, it's plugins, custom data table, and then you have these two things. So you have the JS, which is this whole thing, and then you have a CSS, which bundles up all these things. So if you have a plugin that requires a lot of files to be bundled up together into a single bundle file that is not part of the global bundles, global bundles is basically this. This is your global bundle, and this is like a single page bundle that's only being used for a single page. A global bundle will be included for every page. So if you, let's say, if your plugin is, say, 500 kilobytes, and you don't really want to bloat your global bundle because you're only using that plugin for, let's say, one page. So what you do is you only load that page once for that single page. So that's that. So that's how you create custom bundles. Now, going back to this page. So this is how you can declare what you want to add into the global bundle. So let's say if you want to have a plugin that gets used like on all your pages or 90% of your pages, all you need to do is just type in like require and then your plugin name. Now, this format is only available on a package manager like npm. However, if it's not, all you have to do is type in something like this. So first you need to put your plugin into the plugins folder, which is, if you go to our demo and then we go to our source and then we have plugins, you need to put your plugin in here. And once it's in here, you need to put put the path here. So the path would be, say this is plugins. Let's say this is your plugin. So maybe it's called new plugin / plugin.js, something like this, for example. And that's pretty much it. It's then gets bundled up into the global bundle and then gets included into your project. And yeah, so that's pretty much how you can add plugins into the project. Now, once that's done, let's say you've already added in your projects, you remove certain things that you don't want to be within your project. You go back to your Webpack config, and let's say your project is not within demo 1. Like for example, you don't want the assets to be deployed or compiled and pushed into Metronic's disk folder. You want it to be in your own folder. So how do you do that? Let's create a new folder called a new project, right? And in this new project, what we need to do is you get this path to this project. And then what we do is we replace this path with your project list, your project path. So what you need to do is, okay, what you first need to skip the backslashes, like so. Okay, save that file, and all you need to do is, that's actually pretty much it. That's all you need to do. And you open up your command prompt, type in npm run build demo1, because we are putting this into, we are using demo1's source files, and then pushing or compiling all the source files and then pushing it into an assets folder within the new build or your new projects folder. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's have a look at our new project folder, like right here. And we see our assets get built. All right, it's done. So as you can see, the disk folder appeared, and in the assets, we have all this as well. So if we want to check this out, we can go and see new project, and you can see all of our CSS bundles. It's the exact same that what we had with our demo 1, because we're using demo 1 as a source. And that's pretty much it. If you want to use another demo to be generating this, all you have to do is just type in demo 2, 3, 4, or whichever demo you want to do. All right, so that just about wraps up this video. I hope you found this video informative, and if you did, please give us a like. Please also subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we'll be creating more videos like this, talking about more on the customization of the Sass or JS files, like how you can customize the Sass file variables, change the colors, change the fonts, and so on and so forth. So subscribe to our YouTube channel, so every time we release a new update video, you get a notification. So please also follow us on our social media, like our Twitter and Facebook. Links will be in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.